Good day, everyone. I'm Jim Donahue, President and CEO here at Old Sturbridge Village, and I'm joined this afternoon by Derek Heidemann, who is the Director of Research, Curatorial, and Preservation here at the Village. We're coming to you from Langdon House. We were hoping to be outside today. It's a beautiful January day. Microphones weren't working quite as well as we wanted them to, so we thought we'd come indoors. And we're actually here today to tell you about our kickoff events for the celebration of America's 250th coming up this last weekend of January. So Derek, one centerpiece to this celebration in January is a commemoration of the Knox Train of Artillery. We're going to be doing that here at the museum on Saturday, January 31st, and on Sunday, February 1st. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's about?
Sure. So the Knox Train of Artillery event that we're doing is a program that's happening in addition to the Knox Trail events that are happening throughout Massachusetts right now in commemoration of the Noble Train of Artillery with Henry Knox bringing these cannons from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston, to the besieged city of Boston. So our event is a full weekend long program that's going on that will incorporate some of the typical aspects of a lot of the Knox programming. So we will have reenactors here with cannon, with sleds, with oxen visiting as well. They'll be recreating and talking about the experiences of Colonel Henry Knox and his expedition to bring these cannons back, the 60 tons of artillery from Fort Ticonderoga, as well as a whole bunch of other programs as well that situate that history within the history of the museum and our continued memory of the Revolution today.
So tell us a little bit, for people who may not know him, tell us a little bit about Henry Knox, because he is a major figure in the Revolution who's a little bit understated.
Yeah, absolutely. So Henry Knox really is one of the many people in the Revolution that did not come from a background where he was assumed to automatically have this major role in the Revolution. So he didn't come from a military background. He was involved in the militia before the war and had some experience with drilling, infantry troops effectively. And he certainly had a bookstore. I think most people recognize him as being a bookstore owner and studiously reading up on many aspects of the martial arts in the period. But some of that is a little bit misguided in some of the history of him. I think there's a lot of, like so many things about the Revolution, there are so many things that are caught up in the myth and the memory of the Revolution. And so the goal this weekend is to get through some of that and get to the true facts of the Knox expedition in 1775-76. But effectively, he was given a commission as a colonel in charge of the Regiment of Artillery by George Washington after the Battle of Bunker Hill, and was given this task of going to seize these cannons and basically create the American artillery, which was basically non-existent earlier in the war. And the best way to do that was to go to basically every position where the American troops had captured cannon and try to take the best that he could for the siege lines of Boston to drive the British out of Boston and liberate the city.
So in that Knox Train of Artillery, that was no short trip. I mean, that was something that he started in Fort Ticonderoga, landed in Boston. How much time was that?
So basically, he got to Ticonderoga, I think it's December 5th of 1775. They don't arrive at Washington's headquarters with the cannons until January 18th of 1776.
So quite a story there.
Quite a story, absolutely.
So what can Friends of the Village look forward to on that weekend here at the museum?
So we'll have lots of programming going on. Aside from the visiting Knox Regiment of Artillery group and staff from Fort Ticonderoga, they'll be here partnering with us on the event as well. We'll have our own cannon out doing an 1830s artillery demonstration to talk about the similarities and differences in artillery just over that 50-year period after the Revolution. We're also going to have some special blacksmithing demonstrations going on, actually building parts for cannon carriage like we actually did a few years ago for our cannon carriage, but doing that again. We'll have one of our former staff members who in 1976 actually marched on the Knox Trail and did basically the whole trek from Egremont all the way to Cambridge, talking about his experience. So getting at that continued memory of the Revolution and how that continues to evolve and change over time. And then there are lots of other programs happening. I mean, days before we even start this event weekend, we have the first of our Remembering the Revolution webinar series. So we have John Reese, a very well-respected scholar on the American Revolution, who will be talking about African Americans that fought in the Continental Army during the war. The night after that, the Friday, so the 30th of January, we have the first of our Revolutionary Game Nights here at the museum. And then we roll right into the Knox Train of Artillery weekend. the Saturday of the Knox Train of Artillery weekend, we also have our first tavern night we're doing. So a lot of firsts that we're doing, releasing all these new programs. So lots of different ways for visitors to get involved, come out to the museum, see numerous programs, eat some good food, have a good time, and just generally enjoy the museum in January.
Thank you, Derek, for being here today. Thank you all for your support of Old Sturbridge Village. You can learn more about all of these programs and others that we have planned throughout the spring at our website, www.osv.org. And remember, if you're not a member, please consider joining the museum. Membership will give you free admission to the daytime programs, discounts in the gift shop and restaurants, and certainly special access to some of the evening and special events that we do here. On behalf of all of us here at Old Sturbridge Village, we hope to see you in the last weekend of January. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, and again, thank you for your support.